Hello, my lovely friends. It's Valores again today. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Right now, I'm in Canada. The temperature is 23, which is very good. Last week had some weather, so my goodness. Anyhow, this topic today has to do with people who take pleasure in abusing people. Whether you're a man or a woman, whether you're rich or poor, whether you're disabled, any kind of ill looking towards a human being, it should not be exercised. Of all the abuses I've heard about, I've witnessed, I myself have gone through a lot of abuse. And I think and I know of all the abuses, verbal abuse is the worst one. There is emotional abuse, there's financial abuse, there's bedroom abuse, there is physical abuse, and I would say still the worst is verbal abuse. It's mean, it's very demeaning, it's very hurtful, right? And each person take it in different ways, but it is abuse because of all the people in this world, we all have a different fingerprint. So I cannot understand like something I could brush off, and some people it affects them greatly. God made mankind in His own image, right? There are circumstances in the world that some people um, come up against them. Now, if they can't handle it, I'm pretty sure there's of ways how to forget it or do what they have to do. Now, people take pleasure. Some people take pleasure, and people take pleasure. Sorry, in hurting people. I look down on them because usually I don't look down on nobody, and I don't look up to nobody. I treat everybody the way they ought to be treated. Don't care whatever state of life you're experiencing or you have been through. And people who take pride in abusing people, especially verbal abuse somebody, they're troublemakers. They have no heart. And you see what happened in this age. You leave your home, you don't know how you're coming home back. You're in your house, you don't know what can happen 1 second to the next second. It can change everything uh, um, about somebody. Okay? And I'll give you a few of verbal abuses that I've heard. I myself has gone through a lot of abuse, but I don't know. I'm like, I can shake it off. I won't forget, but I know how to shake it off, and I know how to forgive people who do things like that. And I'll start off. People have this habit of demeaning people because of the color of their skin. I could remember one day I went to the fish market, and this guy was there. He was very, very black. And the people who were serving the fish to, they refer him as a black cat. and he didn't say anything. But I said to him, "What's your real name?" And he told me. I said, "You shouldn't allow people to call you that." He just kept silent and did his work. I hope you look into it. And I think it's the meaning, because he's black, they call him Blacker. It is not right, and it should be stopped, you know. And somebody who's ugly. When I say ugly, I mean like, you know, the facial bones are arranged differently, right? And some people call it what they think it is, right? And they call him, let me tell you, oh my goodness, this monkey, I forgot his name, what it's called, but anyhow, he's a popular one, okay? And they'll ask the question, which one is your parent? Is it a gorilla or a chimpanzee, or you know, these are the things they say to people, which is wrong. You know, you shouldn't say that. And you can voice your opinion about it not being right, but can you stop them? People would say you come from nothing. You'll never reach nothing in life. How do they know that? Lightning strike anywhere. Okay? Nobody can say that, because you know something? I'm from Jamaica. And you have some people very, very poor. Very, very, very poor. And they get a break to come to foreign where they can eat better, live better, help the poor people because they're poor, and they go. And how could you say you're worthless, you're good for nothing? You can become something if you have the ability, right, to step up in life. Then they see you, they recognize you, they can't believe it's you. You know, people shouldn't say things like that to people. You're worthless, you're good for nothing. And they had the B word to it, BITC. There's one letter missing. You can have it. But it's so wrong. You prevent food, like a parent, kid come home from school and they want to see their book work, and like they get 5 out of 20 the marks, and they curse them, you're good for nothing. All you do is you go to school and you're warming the bench and you eat, you're good for nothing, you don't deserve nothing, right? You just prevent food from spoiling. If you are a farmer, and farmers are very intelligent people, because these days everything that you do, you better can read the directions, right? And you're a housekeeper or a maid. You expect your child, who you put in the farm to work with you, he goes to school late, he goes to school 3 days out of 5 days. How do you expect a child to excel? You know, these things should not be tolerated. And you said the child is only good for prevent from food spoiling. That's verbal abuse. And the person, if they can absorb these negative insults, they just figure that's the way they ought to be, you know, and it's not right. You know, they tell you you're good for nothing. You work, but you have nothing. Wonder why you work 24 hours and you have nothing. You know, you don't need to be reminded, because the point is if you are working, you have ambition. You understand? Maybe you're putting your money in the wrong way, you know, but a person who will work is ambitious to me. That's the way I see it, and they should not be treated very bad or reminded. Okay, the other one is it's terrible. Um, a child may be a little bit slow, and maybe not slow, but he doesn't understand. He needs more direction, more teaching, more time. And people will say your mother must have SHI. There's one letter missing in your head, and that's why you're so worthless. Please, please stop it. It is not right. You have a lot of children out there that they become adults and they do not help their parents because of verbal abuse. You figure more or less, you're the adult, you're mighty, you have to give them food, you have to give them clothes, you give them shelter, but you figure that's the way they'll be all the time. But they grow up, they turn successful man and woman. You can't treat them like that. And they say things like you're an embarrassment to human race. They compare to some other children or child that excel in everything, and the parents can afford for them to go to better schools or trade, and then you're dehumanized people because they're children and they grow up, and you know something, a lot of them don't have their parents. They remember the verbal and the physical abuse that they endure because they were young, right? So parents, be careful what you say to your children, because you know something, later on it will haunt you, right? And some people can absorb negative stuff more than anything else. So please try and give people a chance at life, and don't humiliate them. The other one, it says you're so UGLY. Your mother must have thrown out the baby and kept the afterbirth or placenta. That's wrong. That's wrong. You're humiliating the mother, the father, and the child, and you don't even realize it. Okay? So, these are insults that nobody has to undergo. This other one, your mother hair should have hung during delivery. The hair below. You're good for nothing. You don't come from my breed, like my generation. That's very humiliating. You're like a burnt. You have some people that go at everything, but they're always failing. Why? Nobody knows, but they keep going. And people says you're like a burnt log, which means in case you say you see a electrical pole, wood pole, and it caught on fire and it burned, but it burned the shape of the wood. That means it didn't change. That's another insult. People need chances. They need to be educated, not to be treated bad. You're a stupid a-hole. No, those things breed anger, and this is what causes a lot of fights. Okay? People have feelings. They're human beings. They didn't make themselves. Stop it. There's no better for you until you pass. I've been told that I won't tell you who said it, okay? But I was told. And anybody mess with you, you bind that. You nullify that. And you'll never get or inherit dead giveaway, which means a will. You'll never get nothing. You're nothing but a not one night stand. Those are very demeaning, wicked abuse for anybody. You can't talk to my daughter, you know, because you were giving away. You don't have no inheritance to get. And my daughter have land. She's gonna get land. So don't come near my daughter. And usually sometimes those people become very, very, very successful. Because of the insult, it gives them the energy to push further, to show and say, look, I was given away, but here I am now. I'm a man, and I can buy you and the land. That's how wicked some people are. No, you can't talk to my daughter. You got nothing. This is how a lot of people talk about people just because they have a little land. You have nothing. You only want my daughter because my daughter has a lot of inheritance. And the other thing is spitting on a person. I think that's one of the worst things a man can do to another person. Spit on them. There's a part in the Bible, I don't remember where, but you should never spit on a person and tell them you're a little better than dog, or we call him mongrel. A dog is, they say, a best man's friend. And don't care how you treat a dog. And you go into the bush, he's with you. You come home, he's with you. You sleep and he watch for you. Somebody comes that he doesn't know, he start to bark. And you wake up. Right? Don't care how you chase him away. You're skinny, you smell, he's still with you. A dog is a man's best friend. So when somebody class you as a mongrel or a dog, which is the same thing, they don't know what they're saying. They need to be educated. It's a true thing. The other thing is men, if they know something is wrong with another man in where is I'll call it when you down there doesn't work anymore, they would hide behind buildings and see the person coming and they shout, oh, go bury your dead, your hammer is off the stick, and all these things. A lot of people end up in situations like that. If I have to talk about it, it's called, I would say, you're important, right? The right word is important, but I say important, okay? And people hide behind bushes, behind buildings, right? And holler out despicable names to people like that. Anybody can end up like that. Okay? You involve in accidents, medical, stress, surgery, you name it. You can end up like those things. So be sympathetic to people that you know. Some people can't even afford a surgery to correct it, So just call people any name they feel like. And, these things should be stopped very, very soon, okay? Because there's things we cannot help ourselves with. People have a habit of calling, if a child does something out of order, oh, you're bad breed. That means they're cursing the father. What about, how do they know what percentage is the father and what percentage is the mother and what the generation before used to do? How can you tell anybody you're a bad breed? Okay? No, it should be stopped. I'll tell you a bit about me. I came to Canada first. I have 8 siblings, brothers and sisters. I was born out of wedlock. And I've told you, I'll tell you this. My mother only speak about the 8. She tell everybody she's got 8 children. And a lot of my school friends think that my mother is in England. My mother is never in England. But she always despised me. If you follow me, I'll tell you what she used to do to me. Okay? And they did it very smartly because the 8 siblings out of the 8 and herself, I sponsored my mother and 5 of my siblings. And the others, I assisted them when they come to Canada. Right? And she thinks it's okay. And she trained them to despise me. And they do it perfectly. Okay? So, I've gone through so much that I don't care. I'm alive, thank God I have my own children to love me. I'm not looking for external love. If it's not real love, I don't want it. Okay? What is the way they do it? The last time she told me about that was in, I think it was 85 or 95, one of those years. And that's when I said, something? You can't change her. It's embedded in her. When my grandmother grew me up. And she told me, somebody, I have to laugh, somebody put me in a pig pen when I was 10 months old. I don't know who, nobody would tell me who was the one who put me in there. Well, anyhow, all my limbs are here, so I presume maybe there were no pigs in there. It was an empty pigsty. Okay? So nothing bothers me much because I've been enduring that since a toddler. Right? So the last thing was I've done so many things for her, so many things, and don't care what I do for her. She just cannot take a bone in my body. Right? And I've helped my siblings, and they come and they're well trained how to treat me. Right? And then I didn't realize it was a bad treatment until later on. Right? Because I heard it so often. When she passed, I couldn't go to the funeral. But I understand that the church, what the church had before you be buried. And I heard a member of the family went up, I guess she talking eulogy language. She said, oh, she was a nice lady. And she has 8 lawful children and 1 BASTAR. Finish it. Eh? You're giving good good things, that say good things about a deceased person, and you talk how many children they have lawful, and the one that's out there in La La Land is classified as a BASTR. Finish it. One letter is missing. And I heard usually a will is read after funeral is finished and everything. And a will was read, and somebody was saying, "Oh, there's one name missing." I said, "Oh, no, man, all the names they call out already." Somebody said, "I didn't hear." Well, my yard name is Sonia. I didn't hear swinging, and one of them said, "Cha, she go half." Right? So don't care how old they are, don't care how much education they have, they're illiterate. They are illiterate and ungodly in my eyes. But I get it, and there's a lot more. My mother says I have 8 children, and I leave all of them a house spot. It's 9 away. Anyhow, that's it. Please subscribe, share, and like. And have a good day. Bye. I'm out.